Okay, hopefully the wind's not too bad. Got my tea here. I have no decent place to put this mic. When I put it here, it just droops. I hate that. Oh, there's a magnet. That probably looks really f***ing dumb. For next time, I'll figure out a way to cover this up. But hopefully it's not too loud. So the point of this video is to try and convince you to write letters to your friends. Hopefully you have friends. Why? Why should we write letters to our friends, Hussein? You might be asking me. What's the point of that when I can just pull out this thing and text them anytime? I could even email them if I like. Why should I sit down and write a letter? And to that I say, you make a good point. I thought it would be a nice way to keep in touch with friends that doesn't lead to like a million other rabbit holes. Because as soon as you open your phone to text somebody, you get out of your message app. Before you even know it, you've clicked on Instagram, you've clicked on TikTok, and you're back on your phone for God knows how many hours, especially when you're unemployed, which at the time I was. Not only that, it's not a bad point to bring up, yes, you can text people instantly, but that's just a different form of communication. It's quick, it's never really thought out, and it's instant. And there's something to it being so instantaneous where you lose something. More and more in the big 25, I think we are losing the opportunity to slow down throughout our day. I mean, for most people, they work, 9 to 5, 40 hours a week? And when they come home, how do they spend their free time? They've probably got to run a bunch of errands, clean up the house, or cook dinner. And by the time they get done with that, they just want to sit, and they probably scroll TikTok or Instagram Reels. So there's constant agitation. You're basically incentivized to constantly look for the next source of dopamine. I mean, you can see that just visually in the vertical scroll of all of these apps now. It's just, if you get bored within 2 seconds, you scroll down and you're on to the next thing. That's encouraged. That's not a slow, that's not a slow life. Not a slow inner life, at least. And that's what being able to write a letter affords me, is to slow down and kind of retreat into an inner world, even if it's only for 30 minutes a day. Even the act of writing out a letter by hand, in a notebook, with a notebook and pen, you write it out by hand. You literally do have to slow down. You can't, I don't know about you, but I can type pretty fast on my phone. But writing a letter forces you to slow down and really articulate every single thought one by one. And it can sometimes be quite meticulous and annoying. And my hand hurts sometimes doing it. But it's a good hurt. It's a good pain to have. Wrist pain from letter writing. I feel like an old man. I feel like a 110-year-old. My wrist hurt from... What am I doing? I don't really know how I'm going to make this video look nice and visual and cool. I might have to put clips of me writing a letter out over this. I hate that I have to do that just to keep you goobers engaged. I'm sure there are a couple of filmmaker YouTubers that would tell me this frame is not good. It doesn't, adhere to the rule of thirds. Well, I think it looks cool. How about that? Think for yourself.
They with the rat pack. Hit them with the chopper, that's the rat trap. Find them in that trash bag off the interstate. House full of gangsta niggas, never renovate.
It's another thing. Writing letters, really any form of writing, forces you to think for yourself. And I think there are so many people now who can't do that. It's really a shame. Being able to think for yourself, I feel like, requires time to yourself where you're not distracted, where you're sat outside in this garden, for example, and you're just sitting there thinking. It sounds pretentious, but contemplation and reflection is important, and it's always been important throughout human history, and it's only now looked at like an unproductive activity because it doesn't generate anything. It doesn't generate money, it doesn't generate clicks or engagement or data to sell. There's no way to really quantify it. But now more than ever, there is like a war for your mind taking place. That's not an exaggeration. Tech companies are literally clawing each other out for your attention. They are killing the world for your attention. And I'm not saying that you have to cut social media out of your life or cut your phone out of your life, but to just be more intentional about how you interact with these things that seem so ubiquitous to us. My way of pushing against that and being more intentional about my time. Shut up. Shh. This dog. He's in this backyard all day. He barks constantly. Poor is probably thirsty. And what do my neighbors do? Keep him outside. One of the ways I try to stay intentional about my time is writing letters. It can very much be a way to resist that, wider agenda, but I don't want to get too general about it or too outside of the individual act. Texting is a good way to reach out to your friends instantly, but it's not a very good way to ultimately connect with them. The best way to do that is in person, of course, sitting around with them and talking to them. But another great way to do that, or at least to show that, is through a letter, which does take time to write. I mean, there's no way that if you were to write a letter to somebody right now and sent it to them, they wouldn't take that as one of the greatest compliments ever. Why? Because everyone knows that you have no time. You have no time to do that. And so the fact that you found time, period, in your day, and that you spent your time writing them a letter, they will love that, and they will love you forever. And it's something that people used to do for thousands of years. So why change that now? I mean, people used to write letters about all kinds of things because it was the only form of communication. So it probably did feel like a text, where sometimes you would just be sending them or writing them monotonous details about certain things. But other times you'd be really opening up, or telling people how your day was, or letting them in on certain thoughts you have about, I don't even know, a book or a piece of art that you saw or something. That's really all letters are for me at this point. I try to put things in my letters that I haven't already texted my friends, because I feel like there's no point in waiting for something like that. So one of the correspondences I have is with one of my good friends. Him and I very much love interacting with film. We're very passionate about film, and we send each other thoughts about films we've written. And so we've just maintained a correspondence where we tell each other our thoughts about films and relate it to things in our life and whatnot. maybe things that we read during undergrad. We both went to college together. The other day, I wrote a letter to one of my professors. He had actually a big influence on the film I published, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it already, please go and check it out. Man in Nature. Took me a while to make, and I'd say I'm proud of it. I wrote this professor a letter about how he actually influenced the film. He gave a lecture at my school on a particular film about architecture that I ended up influencing quite a major part of the film. And I wrote him asking for advice on pursuing film in the grad school level, and books and other films I should watch. And I should also add that this professor will only respond to letters. Yes, there are still people like this around, believe it or not. And he's not some old fart either. He's quite a young, hip guy. And I guess this is the way he appears different to people, or tries to be different. It doesn't matter what you do. You send him an email, even if you text him, he'll take forever to respond. But a letter, he'll get back to you. And I kind of love that. I love that someone is like virtually unreachable through the most reachable means. But the only way to really get to him is to send him a letter and to wait. I have yet to receive a response from him. I don't even know if he's gotten the letter. Who knows how long he'll take to respond. But that waiting game is so valuable. You're just full of wonder and curiosity about what the response will say. It's fun. It's fun to wait for things, or it should be. Everyone always, even nowadays, everyone's saying, good. What's the saying? Good things take patience, or something like that. Some shit like that. I used to always hate that as a kid. It's like, no, just give it to me now. But as I've grown up and actually lived in the world, I have found that it rings very true. Good things do, in fact, take a lot of time. Any form of activity that is worth doing is going to be hard. It's going to be something that tests your patience. But if you can stick through it, it really is quite rewarding. And writing a letter is just another instance of that. There's also something really nice I've noticed about these correspondences that I've had now. I'm starting to accumulate a bit of a collection now of my friends' responses to me. And it's a bit of a pile. And I'll probably just put it in a folder at some point and keep it. And I have that for the rest of my life. I have these thoughts and these letters that nobody else will have. They were specifically written for me in response to something I wrote them. And it's physical. I can feel it, I can touch it, and I can read it. And I've sort of seen a resurgence of analog technology amongst my generation. I mean, it really started, I think, in COVID, when everybody and their mom started shooting film, because there was something so tactile and fun about being able to, just touch and feel things, and not associate a picture with just a digital set of pixels or ones and zeros or whatever. No, like a piece of film that you shoot with, like the shutter actually opens up when you click the shutter and the light comes in, and the light that comes in and imprints itself on the film, that's the image. And then there's time. You have to send it to a darkroom and wait for it to get developed. And people are yearning for time. They're yearning to yearn. They're yearning to, just wait for things to be more, for things to have meaning. There's a real hunger for meaning, but nobody finds meaning instantly. You don't find meaning in an Instagram reel. You don't just scroll across meaning. It takes a while, and there's got to be work done on your part to find it. People are buying CDs and cassette tapes, and there were a lot of kids I went to college with around my junior year that started buying flip phones. Yeah. and they only used it to like call and SMS once in a while, but couldn't really, social media is not on that thing. You just use it to call and that's it. And then if they wanted to listen to music, they'd get an iPad or one of those little CD players that you plug. I don't even know what it is. Like, you just plug some headphones in and you put in a CD and you click play. Or like a Walkman. Some people would have cassette tapes. Everyone's like trying to cultivate a collection, Nobody wants the world at their fingertips anymore. It's not fun, it's not cool. It's destroying the world, having everything so accessible to you. If I wanted to text multiple people the same text, I can do that. I type out the text and I just add as many people as I want to a group chat and I can send it to them instantly. Can't do that with a letter. Not really. It's between you and that person, and that's it. The world is very small when you write a letter. I also take pride in, I guess, the stationery that I use, or I try to take pride in it. Like, this is a Leuchtturm notebook. My dad told me about them when I was young. And they're just really beautiful notebooks. Beautiful paper, high quality paper. Kind of a timeless design. Very nice leather cover. It just feels, very rich. No, it feels like someone took time to make it. Someone took time to design it. And I use a very nice Japanese like Pilot pen. Sometimes I use a fountain pen. I feel like if I'm going to take time to write a letter, I should also take time to make sure the tools that I use to write them are actually enjoyable to use and actually feel nice. A lot of stationery that you can buy now kind of sucks. It's really low quality. It's like made in China. It's plastic. And it's disposable. And it feels kind of, throwaway. So if you have been convinced by my thoughts on writing letters, which have been very jumbled and all over the place, by the way, sorry. That's kind of just how my mind functions. I can't really... Just to warn you, that's going to be a mainstay for this channel. Every video you watch, you're probably going to be like, what the f*** is wrong with this guy's mind? But that's why I'm special, I guess. Anyway, as I was saying, if in fact you've been convinced by my thoughts on writing letters, I would say try and be intentional about, the supplies you use. Turn it into a thing that feels special. I'm not saying that you have to build it up. Because if you build it up too much, you're going to sit on that table and you're going to try and write something and nothing's going to come to you because you're going to want it to be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is the more effort you put in to the tools you use and finding tools that work for you, the more meaningful an act it will be. But if you don't have money for a fountain pen or a nice notebook, really all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. We really don't have to complicate it that much. Mind you, this notebook, these pens, all the tools I use to write letters, I have accumulated over many years. The fountain pen that I bought years ago for $18. I guarantee you it costs way more than that now. All the different supplies that I've collected and it's, stationery is a little bit of a passion of mine. So I've collected them over the years. I'm not saying you have to buy everything all at once. Don't do that. When it comes down to it, all a letter is just a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. And all you need from that point, after that, is an envelope and a stamp. If, in fact, you're going to buy anything, go to your local post office, buy a pack of envelopes and some stamps. It should cost you about $16. That's all you need. A letter, a stamp, paper, pen or pencil, and hopefully a friend. If you don't have that, I can't help you. Actually, I think I can. There are these I remember back in the day, there used to be these language exchange pen pals. If you were learning a language and somebody else wanted to learn your language, you could do a language exchange through email. sometimes even writing letters. Maybe there's a website like that for people who are looking for a friend. That's not very helpful, but I don't know. Just Google it, guys. Just fucking Google it. What are you, a baby? What are you, a baby? You need me to tell you everything? God. Think for yourself. Cultivate your mind and do things on your own. Okay? Jeez. I really hope this video came off coherent and was like enjoyable to watch. If not, then whatever. But I just really need to be making stuff, and this is a good start. This was an easy enough video for me to make that didn't require a lot of effort. I'm currently writing another film right now, a short film that I hope to publish. Hopefully during or around Thanksgiving. I'm still writing it right now, and it's taking longer than I anticipated. And I'm just kind of chipping away at it slowly. But in between that, I hope to be publishing videos like this, where they're just kind of low stakes, not a lot going on. You know, not a super big topic, but something I can like kind of talk about and work through, but something that doesn't take a lot of time. And I kind of like how that sounds in terms of the setup for this channel right now, at least. Like, I really enjoy the idea of publishing these kind of more YouTube style videos made for YouTube, and then publishing my films in between. And, you know, I really enjoy this kind of content where we can talk about ways to resist so much of what the modern world encourages now, which is just total agitation and just meaningless stuff. I hope that this channel can become a place of refuge for people who are looking to think about things more deeply and to just be pretentious. I don't know. Like, I mean, that's a big insecurity of mine about this channel. It's like, oh God, I hope people don't think this is pretentious. I mean, it is. It probably is to most people. But I don't care. Because being pretentious is the first step to being meaningful or finding meaning, I think. I hope that people enjoy that and see the value in that. That's what I hope this channel to be. And I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a first attempt at something in the vein of this content. And I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap. And please tune in for the next one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Or don't. I don't care. Thanks for watching.